Maelström. Am I pronouncing it right?
Oh, I think so. Maelström.
Welcome to Future Hood Movie Gems. I am Jordan.
I am Tatiana.
And we are the three. Oh, sorry. No, wrong movie. Okay, so getting right into this movie because I want to talk about it right now. Because it's so freaking good.
Yeah.
And Denis Villeneuve is my favorite director of all time. I just have to say that really quick. And I love him.
Yeah.
And all his work.
And there's only one movie you haven't seen of his so far, right?
Yeah, it's the 32nd of August. He's amazing. And I'm so excited to talk about this movie. Let me tell you the secret to life. The secret is...
Oh, man, what were some other good lines? I can't remember. Oh, just how quickly that guy says, I love you.
Or how about, I want the murderer to die a horrible death. I want them to be disemboweled and eat his innards to be eaten by dogs.
By dogs, yeah. Les chiens. Yeah.
See.
Or this octopus. It won't do.
Oh, it's too tough.
Too tough.
Which is the same thing the guy said to her as, you're tough.
Oh.
Remember we were talking about that? I don't know how many little details and how specific he was trying to be. I don't know how much. I just I want to dive so deep into it and think everything he does is purposeful. And it wouldn't surprise me if it is because he's very meticulous and he's an amazing director. But I just don't know if it's if he's saying because this whole idea of there's fish and water and throughout this entire film, it's an interesting idea. And it doesn't surprise me though that the idea is everything is connected, because if you think about it, we talked about that, how it almost is poetic at the end that the boyfriend, what was it that was so interesting? Oh, the fact that, first, oh my gosh, I just have to talk about the film itself. So let's first talk about let me just summarize it really quick.
Oh yeah, do it.
If I can even do it well, because there's so many little things that connect with one another.
Right, but there's some major plot points that are pretty, it's pretty succinct, I think.
Yeah, the basic idea is the girl lost... No, sorry. So a woman has an abortion.
Yeah.
She feels guilty about it. She gets drunk.
Yeah.
And then she hits a man and kills him. And so she
driving
while drunk driving,
and had no idea, didn't stop her car, didn't realize till the next day when she saw pieces on her car.
Yeah, which we were wondering because he got partially scalped and he's bleeding, and she found his hair and little scalp underneath the car. But when he was hit, he flipped over the top.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that happened. Anyways,
movie magic.
But with a little investigation, and it was so funny because my wife was eating chips and she's like, ew, because she used a fork to pick up the scalp and throw it away. It was so funny.
I kept eating the chips though.
Not gross enough to make you stop eating.
Yeah,
it's not brain dead, so it's not quite that disgusting. Or part of her skin starts to fall off and then she has to glue it back together on her face.
Ew.
Sorry, gross film.
No.
Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings, same director. Anyways.
Pete. Never mind. Okay, I have a good joke. I was gonna say a joke, but okay, keep going.
Okay, so plot. Oh yeah, sorry. So, I just feel there's so much. It's crazy. It's pretty simple, and yet I feel it's fun to see how everything. I don't know if I want to say comes full circle, but kind of does. It's so she kills this guy by accident, and then I thought it was so fun that the same guy who we think is the fish.
That voice of the fish talking. There's a talking fish.
Yeah, we forgot to mention there's a talking fish, and he's summarizing the film.
Yeah, he's not in the story. He's not talking to the characters. He's just getting chopped up and talking to the camera. Anyways, he's like narrator.
Yeah, he's the narrator. And just as he's about to tell us the meaning of life,
at the very, very end,
he gets his head chopped off.
Yeah.
It's so good. This film's amazing.
So after she hits the guy, she feels dirty.
Takes it hard.
She takes a million showers, cleans her car, and then she ends up dumping her car into a river or whatever, a water.
Well, she was
thing.
debating if she wanted to turn herself in.
Oh yeah, she was thinking about
that. But then the guy at the train station's like, if nobody knows about it,
yeah. And that's the same voice as the fish, we think.
Yeah.
And then she ends up finding out through the newspaper, through the obituaries and all that, the name of, she can tell, this gotta be the guy. It says that he was hit by a car and then he died in his apartment afterwards, just bleeding to death or whatever. And so she goes and tries to figure out something with the apartment complex where he lived. She wanted to see his place, or I don't know.
No, she went to where they cremated him.
Oh, she just wanted to pay respects or look at the cremation jar.
Of the person who she killed. She wanted to know something about him. Who did I kill?
Yeah. Okay. And then
His son
walks in.
Yeah, the son happens to be there. And then she's like, what's interesting is she's like, no, I'm not, I didn't realize he had anybody in his life. Like, I was just going to pay respects because I'm a neighbor, which she wasn't. She actually killed him. But what's interesting is he used the phrase, well, come get coffee with me. And she's like, no. And then he's like, for my dad. And then she's like, I kind of owe it to him.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay.
She
goes to coffee. They get coffee, and then she's like, no. And he's like, how about you help me, like, pack up his things? I'm only going to be here for a day. Oh, no. And then she gets suckered into that. She turns around, goes back in.
Yeah.
And it's just like one thing after another. And then finally it's like, and then he's about to leave. And then, and then he's going to get on the plane. I love the music that's played. And then the quick pan, and you see her running at the airplane to stop him. And then what's so interesting too is just the fact that, like, it was like a death. I mean, if you consider, abortion's death. And then that morning when he finds out that his plane crashed, and then he kept telling her, you saved my life.
Yeah. And she went to stop him. I thought she was going to stop him to be like, before you left, I just had to tell you the truth and come clean to him. But no, she just said, before you left, I have to tell you, I want to. And so then they go, and then that saves him from dying in the plane crash.
Yeah, but what's interesting is, I mean, you can say that she saved his life, but I know in her head she's like, well, he wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for me, because she did kill the father.
He wouldn't have traveled here anyways.
Yeah, he wouldn't have traveled there. So you could say, yes, she could, although she killed a life, she also saved a life. And which is kind of interesting, this whole idea of, like, now I'm going to start singing Lion King.
The circle of life.
But I can't sing it because my throat is, like, tickling right now. But yeah, it's just this, it's so, that's why I love this film. It's just, I feel like it's like one thing after another. Yeah. And how all this stuff is connected, like the stranger, that it just feels like a very small world almost. Yeah. This idea, this random stranger gives this girl advice, who happens to most likely be the fish that's narrating the film. And it's kind of like this, I don't know if I'm going to call him an angel, but just somebody that is there to, like, kind of give, I don't know if you want to call it wisdom or advice.
Oh, yeah.
But he happens to be at the person's most pivotal decision to make a very big decision. And he's just like, don't worry about it. Like,
yes.
And he happens to be at the bar when the guy's like, I just found it. Because then she finally confesses to this guy.
Yeah.
And tells him, and I think it has so well, like, when she's, like, covering his eyes and then tells him, like, I was the one that killed your father, and not actually hearing the words, but you get an idea that's what she's telling him.
And apparently she was like, I want you to punish me. I want you to kill me.
Yeah, I want, yeah, exactly.
She wanted him to, yeah.
And,
oh my goodness.
And then him going to the bar and being like, I've got to make a decision. And, like, she had to make a decision to turn herself in, to go to jail. And then he had a decision to make whether or not to kill her. Because he even said with his buddies, I'm going to kill
whoever this is. And they kept referring to the murderer as a he, like, just making assumptions.
Yes.
Like, some drunk guy.
Yeah, some guy hit him and killed him, and I'm going to kill him. And that's probably another reason he didn't know it was her, because he was kind of like, why? He did suspect that, like, she lied to him and said...
Well, yeah, he knew from the beginning that she was lying about being a flight attendant and being a neighbor, in my opinion.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That's as early as he figured it out.
Yeah, he was just... Well, I think as he started to uncover things, because she just kept things so vague. And so finally he just had to make that decision, and that same guy's there. So I think it's so interesting that the same guy is giving all this advice, while, like, this idea too that she, killed one person but saved another life. Like I said, it's this idea. It just seems like everything seems to be connected in this film.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so after that scene at the bar, he decides he like goes through a big process. He's now, the son is finally grieving, and he throws the ashes at her when he gets to her apartment, and then she cleans them up with a vacuum and then saves them. And then apparently 2 weeks later they finally go to the ocean together, and he drops the ashes there, because earlier he had said that his father had always wanted to be buried in the sea, because his father's wife, so his mother, had died when he was 3 from drowning in the ocean. Okay, the fish thing, I said this, so it wasn't till yeah, I was, it was afterwards that I was thinking, what is the meaning of the fish? All of these fish that we see throughout the whole film and ocean, like, it's like, I said at one point, I think it's on average every minute and a half that there's some kind of reference to fish. And
Well, the guy works making cutting up fish. He like works at a, I don't know what you call a fish place.
and his wife died in the ocean, and his son is they call it a frog.
And she was dreaming
Frog
about
man.
that eel like rolling over.
The fish at the fish narrator
In the
at
very
the end-
beginning, there's that car that's crashed, and the fish were all out on
Yep.
the road. And then they had the octopus that they said was rough.
Yeah.
That was from that truck, right? It was, and then they found out that the guy died in his apartment because of the fish. And there was a fish out in the street when she killed the guy. It just seems like everything. It's very similar to Enemy, which is also by Denis Villeneuve, and it's all about spiders.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And so I wonder.
I think this is my theory right now. When you were talking, it all came together for me. This is just, for now, my theory on the overall message of the film. The fish narrator at the very end, who we think is the same voice of the guy that came and gave advice to both of them and was like, whatever. The fish at the very end is like, I'm going to tell you the secret of existence. It is, and then his head gets chopped off. So I think they're saying the secret to existence is death. When I think back on what the advice was to both of those people, he was like, it's not a big deal. I think the overall thing is death is normal. It's part of life. It's not a big deal. Stop fussing over it. Just love each other while you're alive. I don't know.
Well, I think it's just the idea
Not that I agree with all of that, but yeah.
Well, but it's just a part of life. I agree with that. And it's just kind of the cycle of everything. I mean, we live, we die, and then
Yeah.
and then babies are born, people live, and it's just.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, when he talked to the girl,
I think
she was feeling so bad over the death of the guy, and he was trying to say to her, don't turn yourself in, don't make a big deal out of it. And then when it was the guy, he was like, I can't love her anymore, she killed my father. He's like, don't make a big deal out of it. Out of all that is connected to the guy dying. Like, don't make a big deal out of the guy dying is basically what he was saying.
Yeah, well, and she didn't kill him on purpose, but still,
she didn't.
but she did make a decision, so she's still at fault because she did make a decision to drive drunk. But
Right.
they would
Oh,
have
yeah,
never
yeah.
met either, though, if that hadn't happened.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying I agree with the message.
No,
Like, I don't think he's, like, we should be that cavalier about death. I don't know, I just like that I still agree, though, with, if this is the message, I agree that we can't let it haunt us. That was a big theme we saw, was she was haunted, and then...
And that abortions are bad. Oh, sorry, no,
Yeah,
that's
that
not
too.
the message.
She was haunted by both of the deaths, but and then it came to me also later when I was trying to tie the fish together. The guy that died, and the whole thing about him wanting to be buried at the sea, and him choosing to work in the fish industry, even though he swore to never go into an ocean or near an ocean after his wife drowned, he still worked around fish.
Oh,
I
interesting.
think, yeah, he was haunted, and that's why they were saying he was so like kind of a loner, and none of the neighbors really knew him. He was living kind of and he wasn't even that close with the son, I guess. Right? It sounds like he was haunted for many decades over the death of his wife. And we saw such a good depiction of how she was haunted. They just really showed such relatable, like, the way she was reacting is like very clearly she was haunted as well. And then I love at the end, it's starting to heal, you know? And it's
Well,
yeah.
and just her constantly showering, and I just love it. There's so much water, so much
yeah.
fish. It's just
Even her carpets are blue.
Yeah.
And all her furniture, so it looks like an ocean.
Yeah, I mean, she's got those big blue eyes, and they're
Oh.
always near water or eating fish or talking about. It's just fascinating, and I mean, I just appreciate all those little details. I feel like there's so many of them, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I mean, if you think about fish just by themselves, like, or I don't know, I'm still trying to like figure out the fish thing, and I think it still supports my theory at the moment, that that they're like, whatever, you know, don't make everything such a big deal, because fish are like, there's nothing special about them. I don't know, they're floppy. It's just like, I don't know, it fits the vibe of like, it's not that significant. It's not that important. Not that I agree with that, but just, I don't know. I think that's the message, kind of.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially because we do treat fish like they're eaten as fast as they're caught. Like,
Yeah. Well, I know some vegetarians, I don't know what it's exactly called when you're a vegetarian, but you still eat fish. I've talked to one before, and her reasoning was that fish are like proven or whatever to have like zero brain cells or whatever, like very little activity going on, and they don't feel the pain, and they're I don't know, for some reason they think killing other animals is cruel to them, but killing fish is not cruel.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I want to look up really quick just what they say about Maelström's fish. It says, Maelström is probably the first romantic drama ever narrated by a smelly dead fish.
What might a dead fish have to do with love? Oh, interesting. They think it has to do with love.
This says, no fish were harmed in the making of this film.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe the point of him saying, like, stop beating yourself up over the death, like, when he was talking to the girl. The narrator also said during the moment that we didn't know if she was committing suicide or if she was just trying to get rid of her car. We know that the narrator says something like, the moment she had a second chance, the moment that she, what did he say? It wasn't just that she gave herself reason to live. It was the moment that she gave herself permission to live and love, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. If people want to write us in and tell us their thoughts on what they think the fish are, that'd be great, because I read some stuff. It's an interesting idea. And the fun part about Denis's films is you can kind of make it what you want. He doesn't make it super on the nose and clear, which I love and appreciate.
Yeah.
But do you want to say, too, like, what it was like watching this movie the first time? Did you like it?
This was my first time watching it. But we watched the very beginning earlier, like weeks and weeks earlier.
Yes.
So it's hard for me to remember, but you give me a recap. And I was like, oh yeah. The very first day when we watched just the beginning, I was like, what the heck with the fish?
Yep.
But then, yeah, today I was like, oh, okay, I already had time to process, like, there's a weird narrating fish. And so, and then today it got into just more like normal things, not a talking fish. I liked it a lot. I was in a good mood for it, is I guess all I'm saying, and I really liked it.
Yeah, I love this film. Saw it the first time. I rented it from a video store.
Oh my goodness! Back when those existed?
Yeah, it still exists in
Oregon.
In Texas.
Oh, really?
Oregon.
The last Blockbuster is in like Portland, Oregon, or something.
Yeah, but
there's still movie places in Texas.
One, and it's called I Love Video. It
Oh
just
my
has
goodness!
a bunch of VHS tapes and stuff. I even asked them, and they're like, "Yeah, I have no idea how we're in business," because they were making like no money. People would go there to just take like Instagram photos.
Oh, that's one of your photos, isn't it? Is that where you took that photo?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was photoshopped.
Oh.
But no, I mean, I don't know if I was keeping them in business, but I was renting 7 movies a week from them. And, I'd watch one a day. And then but I did get a ton of in-store credit. I gave them like my whole DVD collection, and now I have a VHS collection, but I got rid of that whole DVD collection because I went digital.
Yeah.
And when I got rid of it, they gave me a ton of in-store credit because I gave it all to them. And then they were like, we're not taking any more movies from anybody else because I gave them so many. So I gave them my entire movie collection. I got like $300 or $400 in-store credit.
Wow.
And so it lasted me a long time. And then I also gave them my little Ash Army of Darkness action figure as well, because they had a bunch of movie action figures and stuff.
This sounds like the favorite place that you went to in Texas.
Oh, it was. Every single week I went. It was the highlight of after I'd go to church, I went there because my church was like really close to it. And I had to drive super far to get there. And so I'm like, well, I'm just going to go right afterwards. It was amazing.
It was the third part of your spiritual of church that day.
My spiritual high.
Yeah.
That's sacrilegious.
No, it's not.
I love this movie. I love it even more now thinking about it and talking about it with my wife, because I hadn't even thought about like how much the fish play a part in this. Like I knew it did, but watching it the first time I didn't, because now that I'm thinking about Denis Villeneuve and thinking about his work and thinking about Enemy, where there's like spiders play such a prominent role in that movie and spider webs. It's just fascinating and interesting that he used fish in this one. And I'm really bummed that I didn't get to do more research about it and explain to people what it was. But like I said, write us, or, you know, hopefully in another video we'll talk about it again. But love this film. I do recommend it. He is French, so obviously they're very liberal with their bodies.
Oh, yeah. There's some fast forward scenes.
Yeah, scenes we skipped. But love the story. Very fun.
Yeah. I was hooked. Like, I was really interested in what was going on
So
the whole
hooked,
time.
you stopped the movie and didn't watch it till like a month later.
Okay. Remember how I was the one that first suggested that we watch this movie tonight, and you're like, no. And then we started to watch like one or two other movies, and then you're like, actually, I'm in the mood for Maelström.
Yeah.
Oh, her friend. Her friend is
gosh.
the worst.
Yeah, just like, I've had 3 abortions. It's not a big deal. Like, and then she's like, this is so tough.
This octopus?
Please send it back. I can't eat it. But
How
it's just,
dare you.
it's just funny though that you were like, yep, that's the French.
Wait, I was?
Well, and their particularness about their food.
No. I said that comment when you were like, ew, they're ordering octopus? That was before she made her. And all I said was, oh, yeah, the French with their fancy food. I mean, to us, we're like, ew, octopus. But for them, they're like, oh, this is high class.
Is that how they talk?
Well, because the chefs in France, like, they take a lot of pride in their cooking. So, yeah, like, if they do octopus, they do it right, I'm sure. The food is amazing in France. I'm not a seafood person, so that's the only reason I'm like, ew. But if anyone's wanting to get octopus, I'm sure France is the best place to get it. Yeah. We need to go to France. But at the same time, I keep thinking, I don't think I'm going to make it happen.
What?
I need to make it a priority that we actually do a trip before any kids come, because everyone recommends going on trips before kids come. But it'd be fun with kids at the same time, I think. I don't know. We'll see.
Until they're screaming.
Yeah, that's
and complaining
true.
the whole time. I think that's everything.
Yeah, this was a fun chat.
Love you, Denny.
Je t'aime.
And all your films are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to see his last film.
What is it?
32nd of August.
Oh, just the one you haven't seen yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I love everything else you've done. And my brothers, it's like pulling teeth to get them to watch your foreign films, and I apologize. That they're uncultured swine.
I'm sure he's listening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.